Excuse me, when we can start?
Okay, the speaker is here, so we'll start any time now.
Good afternoon, everyone. A little bit of housekeeping. Can we do a quick sound check? Can you hear my bell?
Yeah, very well.
Okay.
How about the others, the debaters? Can you hear the speakers?
Could you give us a minute?
Yeah, please get ready. We're already supposed to start. Okay, anytime now, by 20, another 2 minutes.
All right, thank you.
I need to know the first. Okay, where are they?
They haven't set yet.
Okay.
Maybe we can ask them to share their names on the chat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
From team government, we have Ayu Safia. Are you the first speaker? Can I know who's your first speaker?
My first speaker is Putra Muhammad Aizat.
Putra, what?
Muhammad Aizat.
Muhammad Aizat.
Yes.
You are from SAM Sultan Salahuddin Abdul Aziz Shah, right?
Yes.
Okay, Muhammad Aizat. Second speaker?
Second speaker is Nurul Izzah.
Nurul Izzah. Oh, third speaker?
Third speaker is Ayu Safia.
So your non-speaking members would be Aisha and Muhammad Arif Hafiz?
No, Amir Aziz, another non-speaker, not Arif Hafiz.
So first speaker would be Muhammad Aizat. Second speaker would be Nurul Izzah binti Abdullah. Third speaker Ayu Safia. And the non-speaking members would be Aisha and Danish.
Non-speaker is Aisyah and Amir Haziq.
Amir Haziq. Okay, can you share your names on the chat? Have you shared? Okay. Team opposition. Can I know who's your first speaker?
The first speaker is Hana Maisara binti Muhammad Rushdi.
Second speaker?
Irin Hana.
Irin Hana. And your third speaker?
Suasha Sri.
Suya Shastri. And your non-speaking members would be Wan Arif and Hana, Pravi.
Yes.
You're not speaking.
Okay. Can you type your names in the chat?
Yeah. The opposition. Nama Sarah Irene, and the third speaker is
Suyasha.
Subiasha. The opposition, please, can you type your names here so we won't be spelling mistake on the names. Hana Maisara, Yatrin Hana. Okay. Suyasha. Suyasha. Okay.
Ada you only mama.
Okay, is everyone here? Shall we start? Government team, are you ready? What about the opposition? Are you ready?
Yes, ma'am. We are just connecting to a last laptop.
Okay.
Apologies. Who will be giving the reply speech for the opposition?
They can choose their lectures, no problem. They doesn't need to know who's doing the reply speech.
No, because we need to write. That's why we always have it out here. Who's going to give the reply speech, first or second speaker? The government has done their part of writing who's giving the reply speech, which is the first speaker. Hence, may I know who will be giving the reply speech for the opponent?
The second speaker will be giving the reply speech for the opposition.
Thank you.
I cakap, you want to make the script for you. Ni harus cards hari ni. Hah?
Okay,
you
shall we
guys are
start?
ready?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Today we are going to witness the preliminary round 2 of the Selangor State Level English Language Debate. The motion for today's debate is, this House regrets the rise of gentle parenting. I am Husna Zayani and I'm your speaker for today's debate. Judging the debate is the panel of educators led by Chief Educator, Ms. Panchali. The other members of this esteemed panel are Ms. Zaifina and Ms. Norehan. I will now introduce the debaters for today's debate. In team government, we have Muhammad Aizat as the first speaker. The second speaker, Nurul Izzah binti Abdullah. And the third speaker, Ayusafiyah binti Muhammad Adha. And the non-speaking members are Aisyah binti Cik Muhammad Azam and Ami Haziq. In the opposition, we have the first speaker, Hana Maisarah binti Muhammad Rushdi. And the second speaker, Irin Hana binti Izwan Hasli. The third speaker, Suyasha Sri Sukendran. And the non-speaking members are Wan Arif bin Muhammad Ghazali and Pravin anak lelaki Veravijayan. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I now call upon Muhammad Aizat, the first debater of the government, to present his case.
Test mic. Are you guys hear my voice? Test mic, test mic.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Thank you. Three, two, one. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And thank you, I read to the Honorable Speaker, the wise line of educator, the accurate time skipper, my friend on the opposite side, and a member of the government side, and not to forget the member of the floor. As the Prime Minister for today, I would like to propose the motion that is this House regret the rise of gentle parenting. Acting as a first speaker, I will do the three important tasks. First, I will define the motion literal and conceptual. Second, I will to explain the role of my supporting minister. And thirdly, I will give out our first argument in delegation government in defense our side today. So, moving on to my first obligation, which is define the motion. So we separate the motion for today is three words. First word is the rise. The rise means increase an amount, a number, or level. Next, the word of regret. Regret means to feel sorry that you did something or that you did not something. Is it also a feeling of sadness about something that you cannot now be changed? And this controversial word today is gentle parenting. Also known as a collaborative parenting, is a style of parenting where parents do not compel children to behave by means of punishment or control the brain, use connection, communication, and other democratic method to make decisions together of a family. So for the conceptual for today, in conceptual sense for today, we interpret the motion to be we agree with the assertion that the rise of gentle parenting is a creating and they offer increasing problem for both the parent and their children in raising the child. Because of the problem, it would cause the children to become disrespectful and rude to the point where they treat their parent as if they are on the same level with their parent. So then my first task, we go to my second task is explain the role of my supporting minister. So my second minister here will rebut the argument come from the opposition, chief opposition, and give the second and third argument for today. And my third minister today, they would then rebut all the argument come from the opposition side. Then my task, second task, we go to my last task, which is we give our first argument in defense our side. For my application, I will give my first argument under the keyword kids would develop problematic behavior. Ladies and gentlemen, nowadays, children exposed with a bad influence come from many ways. For example, friendship, social media, and our society. It makes our children involve bully, vandalism, skip school, vaping, and more than that. So when the gentle parenting used in that cases, when the society or teacher want to give advice and want to discuss with them, they want to hear that because their parents doesn't punish them. So we can see that gentle parenting makes children become more clingy. As a fact, from Berita Harian, in 2019, there was a teacher that punished her student with the lightest punishment ever because she did not finish her homework. When her parents know about the punishment, her parents go mad and force the teacher to crawl in front of her student. That means the children become more clingy. The end of the day, gentle parents make them more spoiled and their children exposed with a more bad influence because they won't hear advice and refuse to take punishment. Our generation cannot
information.
grow and becomes good people and problematic
POI.
attitudes and impact in society as a whole. Yes, miss.
That is not gentle parenting. That is just spoiling their kids.
Repeat. Pardon.
That is not gentle parenting. That is just spoiling their kids.
No, gentle parenting is spoil the kids, miss. Because what? When you treat the children with the gentle way, makes up the children become cringe because the parents doesn't want punish them and then makes them become cringe because they want to punish. Because the parents want discuss, but when they discuss, the children make them as a friend, same as a friend. So so gentle parenting made them so cringe. So done all my work today. So now it's time for me to reform our case. Firstly, I will recap our first argument, which is kids would develop problematic behavior. Secondly, I will state the second and third argument that were given by my other minister, which are parents' last authority over their kids. And also, kids become vulnerable to negativity to the outside world. Thirdly, I would like to refer our stand which we strongly agree with today's debate motion entitled this house regret the rise of gentle parenting. And lastly, I will state our case stand, which is gentle parenting cannot provide promising outcome to the children growing. So then all my words.
POI, please.
Yes, miss.
Okay. So my POI is, how does the government view the potential impact on a child's life if traditional parenting is prolonged?
Miss, today we don't want to compare gentle parenting with traditional parenting, but today we want to see the gentle parenting because the parenting is suitable with the nowadays children. So, in conclusion, we strongly believe that the motion, this how regret the rise of gentle parenting, should be 100% accepted. That's all. I raise my case and beg to purpose. Thank you.
Time is 6 minutes and 50 seconds. We now call upon Hana Maisara, the first debater of the opposition, to present her case.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I'll start my speech in 3, 2, 1. Thank you, I bid, to the chairperson. A very good evening I would like to wish to the Honorable Chief Adjudicator, precise timekeepers, fellow members of the government, members of the opposition, and members of the floor. Today, I stand before you as the leader of the opposition, representing the voices of millions who have entrusted me with the responsibility to hold the government accountable and advocate for the interests of the people. It is both an honor and a duty that I have taken very seriously. Thank you for the government for defining the term of discipline. Discipline, as I would like to recall back again, is the practice of training people to obey rules and orders and punishing them if they do not. Gentle parenting, however, is quite the opposite. But it's similar in some ways. It is to teach their kids ways to become well-behaved and well-disciplined citizens with methods of connection, communication, and democratic methods to make decisions together as a family. What the government is implementing is that we should turn a blind eye towards the harsh method of parenting and allow it to continue for generations. There exists a term: the abuse becomes the abuser. This change of event won't stop until someone decides to stand against it. Traditional harsh parenting is used, but if not all parents, what method are they using? Traditional harsh parenting, if not used by all parents, what method are they using?
PY,
Gentle
please.
parenting started to become popularized during the rise of millennial mothers during the 2010s that chooses to break the generational trauma inflicted by their parents before. What are the effects of
PY, please.
parents neglecting the methods of gentle parenting? If parents uses the opposite of gentle parenting, which is harsh parenting, that teaches children to be adaptable towards harsh environment and violent relationship. Who is going to stop them? Who's going to teach them that that situation is not good for them? They learn since young this behavior, this violent and careless treatment is normal. Who is going to save them but their parents who have failed to provide them the proper care? Gentle parenting creates safe environment for children to express their conscious and need without the looming fear that their parents might punish them for speaking the wrong things and saying the wrong words. Okay. Children who lack love are more prone to turn out to be a more rebellious and repulsive children, always seeking attention and validation outside that they cannot receive during their childhood. Children without this lack of attention and validation will turn towards drugs and alcohol to satisfy their needs and are more likely to fall into the manipulation and fall victims to abusive relationships that could affect their future greatly. Gentle parenting is an adequate method of parenting that should be implemented all around. The advantages of gentle parenting are paramount, and the long effects of gentle parenting is a huge positive impact on the generations that are generations to come, as they are raised in such loving and gentle embrace. With gentle parenting, children grow a mutual respect between female and male. This will create a more cohesive environment in school and a conducive environment in school and could create long-term relationship without the prospect of romantic. The government fails to understand that when children are raised in such heinous environment, children are more prone to become repulsive and rebellious children. If their condition with the home does not change, they will soon turn out to be adults who commit fraudulent activity. These legal activities will go on to the criminal records and will cause a wedge between a potential future that would be for the wedge between a potential future that would be for the betterment of their future, such as job opportunities and tainted reputation. When children are doing fraudulent activity, their life not only affects the family and the individual's reputation, it affects also the society as a whole, as the government has to pay for what they did there with the fraudulent activities such as vandalism, stealing, shoplifting. The crime rate increases and it causes the whole thing. Okay, what the government was saying, gentle parenting is saying that punishment is good. Without punishment, children becomes more clingy. Gentle parenting is not making children clingy. The definition of gentle parenting is giving them punishment which mean that are not too harsh and fitting, such as assess what is their problem, what caused them to do this harmful thing that's caused them to cause disobedience. Ask why they did it, ask politely, and tell them why it is wrong, what they did was very wrong and caused harmful effects. And strongly urge that why they did was wrong and highlight that they should not do this and do better things. Okay. I would like to insist our position stand while also expanding on the continuous points while also rebutting the arguments. Okay. I would like to echo the voice raised by leaders of the opposition. We as parents, when the junior generation, should prepare them for the real world. Does that mean you are introducing your child to a world of abuse instead of raising their children to adapt to a violent world? That's the question I would like to ask the government.
Please.
With children who are raised in such violent environment, it will cause them to have generational trauma. Yes? Tak dengar Cak.
We didn't mention about the abusive parenting at all.
Yes, but you mentioned that punishment is good, that punishment teaches the children. So in other words, that is abusive parents. Huh? Punishment can be a form of abuse. Abuse comes in many ways. It can be from silent treatment, punishment, and many other aspects. Now, and physical punishment. Generational trauma is trauma that is passed down generations after generations. The abuse suffered by them becomes prominent, mainly because of the term I used before, the abuse becomes the abuser. Gentle parenting can put a stop to this issue. Now I'd like to compare and contrast between traditional parenting that is being used by generations before and gentle parenting. Traditional parenting uses harsh method to discipline the kids. People in the olden days view violence as a crucial method to put their children in place, mold them to become perfect. In reality, it only hurts more than to become quote-unquote perfect. In reality, it only erodes the relationship between the children and their parents. For example, hitting them with a belt or a cane, locking their child outside of the home. This will make the children lose their respect to them because they only see them as an authority figure that inflicts fear instead of inflicting respect. And thus, children cannot differentiate between respect and fear. In conclusion to this debate, I, as the leader of the opposition, once again representing the voice of many, I beseech the government should work hard to implement ways to promote gentle parenting for the benefits of gentle parenting are paramount. Thank you.
Time is 8 minutes and 9 seconds. I now call upon Nurul Izzah, the second debater of the government, to present her case.
This mic.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I will start my speech in 3, 2, 1. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good evening. I bid you honorable and dedicated secret timekeeper, my intellectual minister from the government delegation, and not forgotten to all members in this parliament here. Before I proceed with my responsibility in this parliament today, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Nurul Izzah, and I feel greatly honored to hold the responsibility as the second minister from the government delegation. And I will ensure that my team will win in this parliament today by making sure that today's debate motion entitled "This House Regrets the Rise of Gentle Parenting" should be 100% accepted. Now, ladies and gentlemen, now I would rebut their conceptual definition, but as they didn't mention their conceptual definition, so I would just refute our conceptual. So our conceptual definition of this motion is, we interpret the motion to mean that we agree with assertion that the rise of gentle parenting is creating and therefore increasing problems for both the parents and the child in raising the child. Because of these problems, it would cause the children to become disrespectful and rude to the point where they treat their parents as if they are on the same level with their parents. Ladies and gentlemen, now that is our concrete conceptual definition of this motion. Now I would like to rebut the first argument given by the opposition team. So they mentioned about the first argument of the opposition team. They mentioned about gentle parenting could stop abuse. Okay. Without further ado, let me rebut their first argument. Gentle parenting could stop abuse. Okay. So as you know, as mentioned by my first minister, nowadays children exposed with bad influences come from many ways. So when the gentle parenting used in that case, when teacher wants to give advice and want to discuss, they want they want to hear that because their parents doesn't punish them. That gentle parenting makes children more clingy and spoiled. So that is my rebut for the first argument given from the opposition side. So now I would like to elaborate our second and third argument. No, thank you. Our second argument of this motion is parents may lose their authority over their children. Parents just grant whatever their children want, making them spoiled. And the children will feel free to do whatever they please, which would be harmful to them itself. And parents being hesitant to punish their children for unacceptable actions, thus leading to a loss of control over their children. For example, children ordering their parents to cook food or clean their rooms, even when the parents are tired and need rest. So the kids would be selfish because of this gentle parenting. We have evidence here from Star News. There was a mother who normalizes gentle parenting to her child. The child one day the child asked for a toy, but her mother didn't allow it by politely saying no. As a result, the child threw a tantrum and slapped the mother in the face. And because of gentle parenting, she dared to do that kind of action to parents, which lead to my second argument. Parents may lose their authority over their children. So now I would like to move to my third argument. Kids become vulnerable to negativity in the outside world. With gentle parenting, children will be so sensitive. Let me give you an example in case you didn't get what I am saying. When the children who are used to gentle parenting and when someone gets mad at them, they will feel worthless, mad, or sad because their parents basically always spoil them by negotiating things. As long as my kids get what they want, even it is something problematic. Yeah.
Okay, so the government has not provided a proper definition of what potential of gentle parenting is. So I would like to ask a clarification on how does the government define gentle parenting in the context of human rights?
I will answer your question later. So continue to my third argument. When the children who are used to gentle parenting and when someone get mad at them, either their parents or their friends, they will feel worthless, mad, or sad because of their parents basically would always spoil them, by negotiating things. As long as my kids get what they want, even it is something problematic, they would always defend their kids. And they would let their children walk over their faces by time. And this would lead to rebellion of the children itself. Ladies and gentlemen, now it's time for about the question. What we refer as gentle parenting is parenting in a way in the middle between strict and gentle parenting. And we need, as a parents, we need to punish them when they are needed, not punish them all the time. So, ladies and gentlemen, now it's time for me to reaffirm our case. Firstly, I will recap our first argument, which is kids would develop problematic behavior. Secondly, I would state the second and third argument, which is parents may lose their authority over their children and kids become vulnerable to negativity in the outside world. Lastly, I will restate our case line, which is gentle parenting cannot provide promising outcome to the children. In conclusion, we strongly believe that today's debate motion should be 100% accepted. I rest my case and back to propose. Thank you.
Time is 7 minutes and 13 seconds. Just a quick sound check. Can you hear my bell?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good. Can hear you now. Thank you, Usna.
Okay. I now call upon Irin Hana, the second debater of the opposition, to present her case.
Thank you to the Honorable Educator and good morning to the members of the floor. Oh, sorry, may I start again? Hello? Okay. All right. 1, 2, 3. Thank you to the Honorable Educator and good evening to the members of the floor. I am Irin Hana, acting as the second speaker for the opposition. Before we start, I would like to reinstate our opposition's stance while also expanding the contentious points while also rebutting the arguments, providing a thorough analysis. I would like to echo the voice raised by the leader of opposition stating that children who lack love from their parents are more prone to become rebellious. We would like to draw the government attention that when a child becomes rebellious, they are more prone to living a life full of emotional difficulties. As they try to seek validation from outside their home, they are more likely to fall victims to abusive or manipulative relationships. This will lead to an increase in domestic violence. And if the victims of the said abusive relationships decide to have children, their children are very likely to go through the same thing, hence creating a loop of violence. It is clear that gentle parenting is a way to go. And we, as the future generation, should make an effort to create a better life for our children. Now, I will begin with my rebuttals. Not long ago, the government stated that kids would not respect their parents with the use of gentle parenting. We believe that the government has failed to understand that gentle parenting is not about spoiling their kids to the point of disrespecting their own parents. That is actually the result of spoiling their kids completely. Instead, traditional parentings of using violence could affect the relationship of between a child and their parent. Children who do not have a good relationship with their parents would most often seek validation from others. In the process, they might get involved. Yes?
Okay, so you are talking about so you talk about those who lack love would definitely are more likely to have mental health problems like emotional problems, right? So are you invalidating those who got this gentle parenting do not also fall into mental health problem as well?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
So here, are you invalidating those who got lots of love and also got this gentle parenting do not also fall into mental health problems as well?
I'm in no way invalidating them. Instead, I'm saying that gentle parenting is a way to start preventing mental illness in the future generation. May I continue? All right. Children who do not have a good relationship with their parents would often seek validation from others. In the process, they might get involved with the wrong group of people, and their mindset starts to change. They might see illegal activities as a way to feel that adrenaline rush or high that they have been longing for as they have been drowning in fear for their whole childhood. Moving on. There is a flaw on the government statement earlier on their statement of the case of a parent blaming the teacher for the child's behavior. We believe that the parent's action is just spoiling their kids and trying to save their pride. This situation does not define gentle parenting in any way at all. Instead, with gentle parenting, the parent should explain to their children why their actions were wrong and punish them fairly without violent or harsh words. I will instate why gentle parenting is a call for urging. the absence of incentives to create a meaningful life, and children will face a significant consequence. We must confront this problem. In the children's life, where the parents are the backbone, is the predominantly in the children's life, when the parents are the backbone, is predominantly reliant on society. I would like to reiterate I would like to reiterate that harsh parenting and that I would reiterate the vicious or the wish. I'm sorry. Okay. Again, I believe that harsh parenting is not a way to go. Gentle parenting teaches their children that that problems can be solved without violence. It teaches them to be a better person. Gentle parenting can be a way to instill better moral values in the society and the future generation. I'm sure that gentle parenting would be the start of a better society. It is important for the government by virtue of them being too important. It is important for the government by virtue of them being too important for the society. There is a bizarre, frightening, almost the entire world would pretend that the status quo will prefer gentle parenting. We should be the start of a new generation without violence, and we should teach our kids to be a better person. Thank you.
The time is 6 minutes and 1 second. I now call upon Ayu Safia, the third debater of the government, to present her case.
Tess, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, I'm gonna start my speech in 3, 2, 1. Thank you, IB, to the Miss Speaker. Assalamualaikum and good evening, IB, to honorable judges, accurate timekeepers, fellow opponent comrades, ladies and gentlemen. I Sophia, feel greatly honored to hold the responsibility as the third speaker from government side would ensure that my team will win today by making sure that today's debate motion entitled This House regrets that the rise of gentle parenting to be 100% accepted. I will do two obligations, which is first to rebut all the arguments given by the government side, and second, I would recap all of our arguments. Without further ado, let me rebut the government's argument. So their third argument, the opponent's argument. Sorry. So the opposition team, their argument was talking about generational trauma, where I put the abuse become the abuser, and they disagree with traditional method, or what so they call it as harsh method. But ladies and gentlemen, we are not here today to compare the methods that are the best in parenting. Rather, we are here to discuss whether gentle parenting is valid in today's day and age. The opposition team failed to understand today's debate motion. Moving on to their second argument, which is they talking about achieving a society that is going to be better at parenting by needing no violence in parenting, also instill moral value and becoming better society in general. Okay, so no violence needed, but we didn't say anything about harsh punishment like abuse, slapping in a hard way, or like silent treatment. This we do not instill anything in our argument as like what they had stated before, because we didn't say anything about comparing the method in today's day and age parenting style at all. Okay, moving on to our my second task, which is to recap all of our argument. Our first argument is kids would develop problematic behavior. And why
Point
is
of
this?
information.
Yes.
Earlier, the Prime Minister government is saying that punishment is crucial to the upbringing of a child, but now the third speaker is saying the opposite. How do you reconcile this contradiction?
Oh wait, can you repeat that? Sorry.
Earlier, the first speaker, the Prime Minister government, is saying that punishment is a crucial factor for a child's upbringing. Now, the third speaker is saying the opposite. How do you reconcile this contradiction?
Well, the earlier speaker stated that a gentle parenting for the government side is a parenting style between there is something the parenting between the strict and also the gentle parenting. This is something in between, which the child need to be punished, but not severely, not abusively, and that's what the gentle parenting is really is. Now, I would like to recap all of our argument, which is our first argument: kids would develop problematic behavior. Okay, so psychologically speaking, if a kid wants something, they would find any way to get what they want. So they would cry or shout or making things up, like acting up, and just to get their parents' attention. And when they get their parents' attention, the parents are forced to give what these kids want. And okay, so the kids will think like, oh, this is how I could get my things by rebelling and just shouting and crying, just not agreeing with my parents. And gentle parenting, strictly speaking, doesn't have control, or the parents that use gentle parenting method will not control much desire from these kids. So they will keep giving and giving and giving more and more. Rather than talk softly every time, rather than finding a solution with this kid, they would give more and more and more just to shut these kids up. And why is it bad? Because this is eventually will lead to the continuity problematic behavior in the child, following the child in the teenagehood and also their adulthood. And why is it important to avoid this thing? So that we could avoid social problems like vandalism and also vaping, drugs usage, gangsterism, and so much more. Moving on to our second argument, which is parent lost authority over their kids. Parents that use gentle parenting that cannot that doesn't use really much control or precaution don't know on how to be hard on their kids. Parents just grant whatever their child wants, and it will end up just spoiling them, which I said the spoiling thing is like a chain reaction. Okay. So they become stubborn because they become more and more stubborn by the time goes by. They are not used to punish their children, even the actions are wrong, because they are used to defend their children. As long as my child get what they want, so it's fine. And this phase will continue as the child grow up, and not knowing as the child grow up, because the child doesn't know on what actions are actually good and what actually not. They will continue with this chain reaction, and since the parents are always okay with it. Moving on to our last argument, which is kids become vulnerable to negativity to the outside world. Gentle parenting doesn't necessarily mean wise parenting. As these children grew up in a gentle way, they are more likely to be more vulnerable and sensitive when they receive even the slightest criticism. This will surely impact their mental health severely, as they will feel worthless when they get criticism. All right?
POI,
Yes.
can you further clarify how are they more vulnerable with gentle parenting?
Okay. With gentle parenting, the parents do not really, I'm sorry. the parents do not really provide, by gentle parenting, the parents are not really strict. The parents will always protect the children and they rarely get mad at them. And if do get mad at them, they wouldn't punish them. They will only speak with words. They will only talk with them. All right. And as people say, actions are louder than words. All right. And practically, continuing where I was before, and this will impact the children overall mental health. Now, I would like to reaffirm our stand, which we strongly agree with today's debate motion. And lastly, I would restate our case line, which is gentle parenting can provide promising outcome to the children. And with that, I beg to propose. Thank you.
The time is 7 minutes and 58 seconds. I now call upon Suryasha Sri, the third debater of the opposition, to present her case.
Ma'am, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, I will start my speech in 3, 2, 1. Thank you, I bid to the chairperson. A very good evening I would like to wish to the Honorable Chief Adjudicator, precise timekeepers, fellow members of the government, members of the opposition, and members of the floor. As the whip speaker for the opposition side, I stand before you today to reinstate the opposition's position on the motion debate matter. Through this debate, we have presented compelling arguments highlighting gentle parenting. In my speech, I will solidify our case by summarizing the key points and rebuttals to rebut to the arguments stated by the government, which shows that the government turns a blind eye and portrays like a dog chasing its own tail. Firstly, the Prime Minister fails to understand that where do we draw the line between gentle parenting and also between punishment. The government fails to realize that this motion is about gentle parenting, how parents should raise their children, rather than the children retaliating towards the way the parents are raising them. The government doesn't understand the definition of gentle parenting. Gentle parenting stands for the way of how communication is then cultivated between the children, rather than punishing them in a way that is detrimental towards their health. As mentioned by the leader of the opposition, gentle parenting is an adequate method of parenting that should be implemented all around. The advantages of gentle parenting is a paramount, and the prolonged effects of gentle parenting is a huge positive impact on the generations to come that are raised in such loving and gentle embrace. The Prime Minister stated that the government stated that the children will treat their parents on the same level. But at the same time, the DPM also stated that will make it more clingy and make parents lose the control over their children. If gentle parenting does not cultivate proper communication and skills, the government fails to propose what kind of other alternative approach that can be used for parents to confront their children in terms of such matter. The Deputy Prime Minister stated that parents will only spoil them, letting them to do whatever they want and making them more rebellious. But I think the government failed to understand that the way the children grow is the way how the parents are being cultivated. The point of this debate is to ensure how the rise of gentle parenting affects children and how parents can cultivate them. I would like to reinstate the point that the government's belief that gentle parenting means spoiling and always defending the child. But based on their own definition, gentle parenting means to not cause children to become compel children to become punishment and control the use of connection. We should cultivate the use of connection, communication, and democratic methods to make decisions together as a family. Gentle parenting doesn't mean giving your children all they want, but rather compelling the children is not by punishment, but with proper communication. There's a stronger bond between a child and a parent when a parent communicates well with them. The government fails to understand that this motion is about gentle parenting. I would like to reinstate that gentle parenting means where the parents bring up their children in a gentle way so that they do not turn a blind eye on the children's future. Yes, the government may argue that punishment is also a way to go. But then the opposition also failed. The government also failed to define what kind of punishments are being placed. Well, I believe that the third speaker stated that punishment does not come in the form of whacking, shouting. Then what does punishment even mean to the government? I would like to say that, I would like to reinstate the opposition's points, where gentle parenting means that collaborative parenting is a style of where parents do not compel children to behave by punishment or control. It is not considered controlling their life, but rather you are setting the boundaries on how far a children could go, and communicating them with using democratic methods and building a family together. One of the government side also raised the POI regarding mental health. When when uh, when gentle parenting is not conducted conducively and inclusively, that will prolong the generation of trauma, and that will deteriorate the children's mental health. Children will live in fear of their parents and refuse to express their emotions and their feelings, and they will tend to look at the outside world for comfort and living, which reduce the possibility, which increases the possibility, the mental instability of a child, and make the child feel unsafe from their own home, and that erodes the family between the children. uh, e.g. relationship. The government fails to understand that children who are raised with pure love will still be vulnerable to the outside world outlets. Like, for example, they may get into gangsterism, or any organizational crimes. But I would like to
POI,
bring forward
please.
the government's, yeah, POI.
Basically, you say today is about abusing parents, not punishment parents. Respond.
Could you please repeat your POI because you sound unaudible?
Okay. Basically today you say that parent abuse, but today we say that parent use punishment for children, not abuse. Respond.
Okay. Okay, thank you to the Prime Minister for the question. But when you say that punishment or abuse, what is the difference actually? Punishment includes shouting, screaming, and abuse can fall in the lives of them depending how the punishment has been conducted, right? So I would like to draw the clear line that the government fails to understand that the motions about gentle parenting, how parents will raise their children to become better parents rather than prolonging the generational trauma that has been carried out for decades over decades. Like mentioned by my opposition leader, that millennial moms started reinforcing gentle parenting in the 2010s, when they see that that they should break the tie between the brick wall between how far can the children go. Gentle parenting can comes in many forms. Gentle parenting can communicating well with your child, always expressing your feelings, allowing them to express their pain and concerns. But when we do not cultivate gentle parenting, I believe that the government fails to understand that when the gentle parenting is not cultivated, children will then suffer more. What I mean by suffer more is that they will not have a good and conducive environment. Okay, so in my conclusion, I would like to state that the opposition stance remains unwavering. I love to hit that traditional parenting, for example, punishment, is an infringement to the Child Rights Declaration by the UNICEF. The government is likely not being materialistic to the debate, and instead they choose to disrespect human autonomy and does not prioritizes the well-being of children as a whole. With that, I would like to give my time. Yeah, thank you.
Time is 7 minutes and 24 seconds. We have heard the contention of both the government and the opposition teams. This marks the end of our primary speeches. Both teams will be given 3 minutes to prepare for their reply speech. Your 3 minutes begin now. Now we will begin the reply speech. I call upon the opposition to present their reply. Opposition team, you can start your reply.
Are you ready? Can we start?
Thank you. As the opposition stand before you today to reaffirm the opposition that the opposition against the motion that this House regrets the rise of gentle parenting, while the government has presented a compelling argument, I will not echo back to their points and provide strong rebuttal to further solidify our stance. Firstly, the government argues that punishment is a crucial factor to upbringing of its children. The government fails to define what type of punishment is inflicted. Punishment can be varied in many forms, such as silent treatment, physical abuse, verbal abuse, and even emotional abuse. They also say that children who are constantly complaining and wailing are the effect of gentle parenting, when in reality, this is normal for a child and it is a way for them to express their emotions. What the government fails to understand is that gentle parenting is not spoiling the children, but it is a way to coddle them. It is not a way to coddle them endlessly, but it is to form a bond of trust and earn respect that goes both ways. We can clearly see and understand that gentle parenting could prevent bigger problems such as rebellion, an increase in crime rate among teens, and domestic violent relationships that would often lead to their children stuck in the same loop of violence. There is no analysis proven by the government that shows that punishing their children is the best way to solve bad behavior. Government points are based on parents not being able to oppose or spoil their child. That is all from me as Deputy Speaker.
I now call upon the government to present their reply.
Test. Test, test. One, two, three. Thank you again, I bid to the Miss Speaker, Speaker Hall today. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and very good evening, I bid to everyone in this parliament today. So, ladies and gentlemen, I will briefly rebut the first argument given by the opposition representative. As mentioned by opposition representative, their first argument of this motion is this House regret of the rise of gentle parents. Without further ado, let me briefly rebut their first argument. They say gentle parents will stop the traditional parenting because traditional parenting like use bell, slapping children. But today, and what they say today is like more punishment like to abuse the children. But today, our government doesn't say that punishment is like you slap your children and hitting your children, because who a parent doesn't love his children, right? So our punishment today, we want to say that if you punish your children washing the dishes, is it we call the abuse? No, right? Because punishment have a lot. Not a punishment, we got punishment abuse. No, punishment is very a lot and very complex. So we can see right now the opposition right today doesn't opposition today is not like comparing our motion for today, because our motion for today is not comparing between the gentle parenting and the traditional parenting. but we want to count the value in this gender parenting are suitable for children in today's day and age. So finish the rebut and for first argument, I brief to rebut the second argument, which is the lack love would make children be more rebellious. So, and we don't say anything about not be gender parenting could lead the lack of the love because gender parent because when you don't when gender parenting when you strict means that gender parenting doesn't if you don't gender parenting doesn't make you lack of the love because have a lot a way to treat your children as you love your children. So the third argument from opposition they doesn't give so they don't mention their third argument. So I will not rebut the third argument for today. So I will recap all arguments which are firstly. So first the argument from government. First, kid will develop problematic behavior. Second, parents may lose their authority over the children. And third, kids become vulnerable to negativity and their outside world today. So done today. Thank you.
We will now wait while the adjudicators finalize their score.
Speaker,
Yes.
speaker, can we ask the debaters to leave the hall before we make
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay,
Thank
debaters,
you.
please log out your room cam.
we will call you back.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Debaters from Sultan Salahuddin Abdul Aziz Shah, please log out your room cam. Please leave the break room. Room 20. Your room cam. Room 20, Sam Sultan Salahuddin Abdul Aziz Shah and SMK Bukit Jelutong. You can join the room 20. Is everyone here? Team government?
Yes.
Okay. Opposition?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, I now call upon the chief adjudicator to give an oral adjudication of the debate and announce the result.
Okay, welcome back, the debaters. First of all, I would like to congratulate all of you for being here and give the best shot of yours. Okay, I just wanted to give some. All of you are quite good. Okay, but then there are some comments that I would like to give that would improve your presentation next time. Okay. First thing is you need to keep up with your time, because when you use less time, it will limit your argument. You couldn't able to give extra content or your the language, so it will limit you. So there are few of you have taken only about 6 minutes. So which is about 2 minutes is quite a number of argument you could able to give, right? And then when you are receiving the POI, okay, so you should able to either accept or decline. You just don't neglect people when they are POI. It's not a proper manner to do that. Okay, so either you accept or you can ask them to, you'll answer later, or you decline. No, you're not intend to answer them now. Okay, and then possibly even you are discussing among your group members, avoid using other language, especially like Malay, apa tu, kenapa, that kind of words, because we are doing an English debate. So avoid using, asking, communicating in Malay, especially. Okay, these are some comments lah. So you could able to improve your presentation in upcoming if you're selected for the next round. Okay, I hope you can do better with the comments. Okay, so with that, I would like to announce the results. Okay, it is the winner are the opposition team. Okay, and the best speaker is Surya Shastri from the opposition team as well. Okay, it doesn't mean that others didn't do well. All of you did very well. Okay, keep it up your way of doing it. Okay, and I wish you best of luck for the next round. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. And thank you to the government.
Thank you to the government side.
Thank you to the government.
Thank you, Dr. So.
Thank you guys. Good job.
Congratulations, everyone. We have come to the end of this round of debate. This house is adjourned. Please log out and we'll see you online again at 8 a.m. tomorrow morning for preliminary 3 quarantine.